a look at the tax reform bill, there have been people saying that the tax reform bill is one of the best things that will happen to our tax policy in this country. Others are saying that it may lead to a lot of adverse consequences, including corruption, over-centralization, and all that. Master Deji, what do you want to say about the tax reform bill?
Well, thank you very much. I think part of it is what you have introduced. If you look at the bill, it is intended at centralizing the collection of revenue, as it were. And fundamentally, you know, that is against the structure, the federal structure of the country. In the past, some of these collections, some of these tax heads or tax categories that are now being aggregated by central collection process used to be collected by the state government, okay, for and on behalf of the Inland Revenue Board and all that. But now there's an attempt to have a centralized tax collection process, just like the TSA, which will be under the federal government, from which the distribution will be done. Of course, the argument of many people is that that particular structure of taxation, you know, is antithetic to our federal system of governance. And particularly if you look at it in the context of some of the heads of taxes, like maybe the VAT, which is purely based on location collection, okay, or state collection and all that, that it will be an injustice, okay, for us to have a centrally collected VAT system on one hand. The same thing with company income tax. The increment that are being intended, that are being proposed, you know, in taxes for the company, for corporate bodies, it was also an object of objection by some of the members of the House, that why do you want to keep increasing tax when the economy is in a recession, when companies are not making profit and all of that. So a lot of questions have been raised about that taxation, particularly depending on the perspective you are looking at it. Where some people believe that it is fiscal federalism that is being played out in the sharing process, not the collection now. Those who support that particular taxation reform, tax reform, says that the distribution process actually allows for federalism, in the sense that states that collect, that generates more taxes will get more benefit from the tax, unlike before, where the centralization is done and it is shared based on population, based on other geographical factors. You know,
now, yes, thank you. Doctor, we have heard the proponents of this reform, especially the federal government committee on tax, saying that that the bill will reduce or do away with multiple taxation, and that in fact about 60 different taxes have been reduced to 6, and that the low-income earners will be having an advantage in that you will not be taxed if they are the low-income earners. And all that. Then, Doctor, what do you think are these reasons for people to say, yes, go ahead and implement this policy?
Well, on a serious note, because of the fact that we don't trust many things about the government, so it makes us to look at everything with utmost care. On a serious note, you saw the Governors Forum meeting over this issue. Mm-hmm. They are in agreement with the kind of, you know, the idea that on a serious note, let us realize something, that the only constant in life is change.
Yes.
But the problem is that people are always allergic to change, because it's going to change the norms. It's going to change what they've been practicing. Now, when you look at the draft, okay, when they were calling the draft, and they said it's only few governors that attended to the federal government people who were working on this. Only few governors.
Yes.
Many governors, it was business as, to them it's going to be business as usual.
Right.
Now, if you look at what the governors did, and I was following them, they stood against increase in value-added tax, VAT. And I agree with them, because already in a recession where people are already paying VAT of 5%, want to increase it on what basis? So I really agree with them. But where people have problems, where my brother spoke about, where they thought that it's no longer to be shared equally on those demography that they were using before.
Yes.
Because you are not bringing in anything to the table, and you are sharing the lump sum of it. So when you look at where the things are coming, look at how much comes in from Lagos State, how much comes in from River State, how much has come. So you look at this, wow. So people, it's like the case of monkey they walk, baboon they shop. So those who are having problem, creating problem in their own state and affecting business and commercial progress, they are not missing anything because they are sharing the box sum with others who are working hard and burning, the candle all night to work. So that's the problem. So the argument against it is that why do you want people to earn less because they put in less? But on a serious note, how many companies are not operating without appraisal system? Every company does. Even in the bank, these days they give you a target, so you are looking for money. So if you are not working, even the Bible says, "He who does not work should not eat." So what are we talking about? So on a serious note, despite all this, because if you look at chapter 6 of the bill, it's purely on VAT. Chapter 6 of that bill is purely on VAT, imposition of value-added tax, charge of VAT, taxable supplies, all this after everything has been gathered. Then they say those who brought in the money, they should have a higher percentage of what they brought in. I think I agree to that on a serious note. So everybody will now start to make sure things work in their domain.
Well, on the other side of it,
yes.
the other side of it is that you find that some of the items that generate this VAT are termed religious items, which under, like in the north,
yes, in the north, Islam, you see them breaking all the bottles of beer. Yes, but yet sharing the VAT of beer.
Yes, so that kind of a situation where the particular product is regarded as halal or haram. Okay, and then the taxes are generated over it. You don't allow it in your own region because of your Sharia, because you are practicing Sharia, but you want to benefit from the whatever is collected from other regions. I think that's where that division came in. The North feels that notwithstanding that they don't allow those taxes to be produced, or those products to be allowed, or those industries like hotels to be allowed in their own areas, they should still be entitled to whatever is the proceed. And I think that's the dialectics that is creating this friction between the distribution modalities for this tax. And that's why some of the northern governors are not supporting this tax, because they feel that the process of distribution should not be changed. But if you look at those who generate this tax, they on the other hand will tell you that, look, if we allow hotels to operate and we tax them and we make money, and you don't allow hotels to, what is the sense in sharing the money with us? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I think that's the dialectics, between the opposition that we are getting now. But you see, having said all of this, I think the government needs to educate the people more. They have to do more wider consultation. What is going on now is politicization. Everybody is politicizing that bill, that tax reform, and we don't need that politicization. We need to sit down and look at it realistically. Okay, what is the justice in the distribution process? Is it right for people, just like my brother said, who have not generated anything, to be earning something from it that what others have generated? So, and I think that's the justice of the issue. And also it occurs with federalism, because if, for instance, in my state, I produce so much and I bring so much, I think I'm entitled to get more from whatever is going to the federal than a state that does not produce anything. Okay, and that's where the friction is. So maybe the northern state should also open up their economy so that more VAT can be generated for the country instead of this division, these policies of division and calumny that is going on over that tax bill. There are some aspects of it that still needed some augmentation, some amendment, no doubt.
Yes.
But I think this is just the general framework of dissension over it.
But don't you think that the policy, as it were, is not strictly in tandem with our physical federalism in the context of allowing the states to carry out their projects, get the taxes they are allowed to get, and remit to the federal government? Let the local government collect the rates, the tax allowed by law to collect, and remit to the federal government, so that at the end of the day, the incidence of governors going to Abuja at the end of the month to collect money will stop. And then people, the governors will put on their thinking caps and develop their various states.
Yes,
don't you think that is more in tandem with true federalism?
Yes, I think that's where we have the problem. Let me just say this, that a lot of people had quarrel with the collection, that centralized collection process. That one is not in line. It makes Nigeria a unitary state. All right, so it's not in line with the intent and spirit of federalism.
Yes,
they should allow the state and the local government to generate those taxes, but they should either agree on a percentage of it should be going to the federal government, while the state or the local government that collect should retain a percentage of it. They should work out a percentage for each local government or the state based on their collection. Whatever is left should be remitted to the state. That's the intent of federalism. So, but on the distribution process, the sharing process, which is the area that is volatile now, okay, there is nothing wrong with a state collecting more than a fair share of what it generates. There is nothing wrong with it.
More than a fair share? Or something commensurate with its contribution to the Commonwealth.
What I mean is, a measure of what they have.
Yes, that is going by the doctrine of fairness.
Yes, assuming that you say the state should retain maybe 30%. There's nothing wrong if I generate 100%. There's nothing wrong in me getting more than that 30% because I'm generating more.
Let's look at it from the business angle. I think its governance has to be done in a business-like manner.
Yes.
The idea is that if you are a salesman, they give you a target to achieve, and you achieve beyond that target, there is a percentage that comes to you.
Yes.
So that's just what we're talking about. But in Nigeria, we are not even practicing federalism. That's the problem.
That's
We're just playing lip service to federalism.
Yes.
We're not playing federalism because if you look at the US, look at Texas, look at
Canada and other countries.
Look at what those states are doing.
Yes.
And you can see that they generate and they, so until we get
only
Nigeria, so only contributing a portion to the center, not that the center takes everything and then gives handout. And you see, let me tell you, the problem of our forex was brought about by the governors. Once they get the FAAC portion, they go and buy dollars and pounds and euros, and they mop up. And then the naira was now going down, because they were just keeping the money in their house.
Yes.
So you see, the problem with Nigeria is such that the checks and balances are not easily there. On a serious note, how does a government come about having billions of dollars? Where do you get it from? Are we spending dollar in Nigeria? But that's what they do with the FAAC, Federal Accounting something. Once they get the portion for the state, instead of using, so that's why people say, look, we are only looking at Abuja. Look at your state governors. Bring them to book. What are you doing with our money?
Right.
Until you get to that level, my dear brother.
In a minute, some people are saying that the issue of tax reform is not proper at this time when Nigerians are passing through difficult times. That the first thing to do is to empower people that are supposed to pay the taxes. What do you say in a minute because our time is almost up?
Already you see what they're saying, that if you are earning low, you don't even get taxed. You don't even pay tax if your income is low. So it's still part of the politics we're talking about. So if you are having low income, who is going to tax? If you don't have any money, what will they tax? So but when they're saying that they pull themselves, the people themselves who are in power are now trying to politicize it. It's like arousing the public against the power that be. That's all.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time having you. But in 30 seconds, what do you say to our streaming viewers on what we have said today, the impeachment and the tax reform? In 30 seconds.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that we need to put an end to godfatherism in Nigeria. Like I said earlier on, the Nigerian people should reject any candidate of a godfather.
Right. Doctor, your final parting words to our viewers.
People at home, don't lose hope. Don't despair. Don't say they have got the people they want to put there. Well, don't. You still have the power. Your power is in your term. Don't sell it, and make sure that prayerfully you put people in power who will serve your interest.
Thank you very much. This